There is such a creature in the world. They were discovered by a few people, but it has not been confirmed to exist. We refer to this group of creatures as unidentified, mysterious animal, unidentified organism, UMA for short. Hello, and welcome to the UMA video series. First of all, thank you for the unconfirmed biological great support for this video. In addition, due to the long content of this issue, and two unknown creatures are involved, so I'm going to do two. Current, let me share with you a kind of haunt in southern China, the mystery of the ministry amphibians. Vampire blanket. Vampire blanket, aka mat, tin blanket, ground curls, green-haired monsters, etc. The names vary by region. It was found in what is now Yunnan province, especially in the west, Sichuan area bordering Myanmar. He is usually described as having a flat body, amphibians resembling blankets or mats. The body plate is 2 meters square, or even larger, will be in the water or in a depression near a river, hunting small and medium mammals. Its back is covered with green or brown fur. There are many sharp suction cups on the abdomen to absorb and feed on the blood of prey until it dries up. About the vampire blanket, the earliest sightings that can be found, included in Chinese mysterious animal writers teacher Su Chao, written by Chinese mysterious animal Quanjian art. 1976, in the summer of 1977, a girl in Ruili City, Yunnan province, while swimming in the pond, attacked by a blanket-shaped monster. She tightened her body, wrapped the girl's arm. The girl's father tried to save him, decisively cut off his arm. He is worried that if it is not dealt with, the child's blood will be drained. Another thing happened a few weeks later. Another young man, when swimming in the same pond, he was dragged into the water by a floating shadow and died. When people found his body, on him, a lot of suckers of that creature are attached. The time of the third incident, there are discrepancies in some data. One is that it happened in 1993. The other is the fall of 2,000 years. Sichuan Dai, Autonomous Prefecture, Yunnan, a pair of Dai brothers in Munla County, in a cave along the Dailor River, Shiwa. The cave is littered with the bones of beasts. My brother accidentally saw them. The floor of the hole is covered with a blanket. I thought it was when someone complained here. Legacy. Bed. I just stepped forward and kicked. Who knew this blanket? But suddenly, it took off like a gale. Wrap his feet tightly. Then he felt a tingling in his feet. Wait until my brother hears his screams and arrives. He was on the ground, frantically struggling, rolling. Brother is quick. Raise the torch in your hand and burn it at the monster. In the air, immediately exuded a smell of burnt hair. Monster, heated, immediately shrank. Roll by roll, escaped into the pool in the cave. Disappear. And the skin of my brother's legs. It has been torn apart by the monster. You can even see the pale muscles inside. The two quickly escaped from the cave during the Peking opera. Last incident. It is also the most famous. It happened on March 15, 2000. A fishing enthusiast named Lamoli, night fishing by the river. He's staring at the water in a trance. Suddenly found that he went to the middle of the river. Not far, there was a boxy black object floating like a blanket, is slowly approaching him. Out of curiosity, he went to the river and looked closely. I stumbled across one end of this blanket, with a pair of tiny eyes, blue light in the moonlight. The other end has a slender tail. Lamuli immediately realized that it was a living creature, so he grabbed a stone and threw it at him. Creatures are frightened, suddenly pounced, glide quickly towards the middle of the river and disappear. But it wasn't over. That night, the cat suddenly hears his dog let out a shrill scream. He hurried to the shore. This outing, he had 2 hounds, one big and one small, and now one of the little paparazzi, being dragged into the water by something, and the dog was just tearing at it. Soon, I saw a huge creature like a blanket. The old dog dragged him ashore. The creature seems to have spotted the approach of the pulhut hunter. He gave up the puppy and threw himself into the river and disappeared, although the puppy was not dragged into the water, but eventually died of excessive blood loss. He still had suckers the size of a bowl on him. This is what happened in modern times. Some of the more famous machine sightings. I am in the process of searching for info, and I found a few scattered records. Its authenticity remains to be verified, and I won't list them all here. In addition, I'm going to share an interesting thing. A domestic reality show in 2014 organized several stars go to Xishuangbanna to find traces of the blood-sucking blanket. In the program, they saw it floating. Mysterious object like a blanket. Several people were so frightened that they quickly fled. One of the actors broke the news. That's the family arranged by the program team. This world reminds me of the fake Loch Ness Monster incident. Some people for traffic. You can really do anything. And the record of this creature, there are actually records in some ancient books. Yayang Miscellaneous Ancestor, written in Tang Dynasty writer. In volume 17, it is recorded that there is such a blood-sucking monster. The original text is, once again, I will watch fishing with guests in jungle. The roe suddenly came ashore and walked while I heard it, but I turned my finger. The back cannot be related to full, black, diluted. There are things like yellow-leaf-toothed fish. Evolve on it. Evil is not advisable. Warm, burning branches fall. Each pair of oily nozzles is like a ding. Girl, beginners live and die. No messenger. It means that the Tang Dynasty poet Wen Go once in it is now Zhujiang City, Guangxi Province, Ren Dianzhong, Temple Jade. One day he was watching the fisherman fishing with his guests. Suddenly, a fisherman ran ashore. When Hui asked him why he was running, fisherman does just backhand pointing at my back. Fisherman's skin is black. Look carefully. I just found out that there is 1 meter long, something like yellow leaves. Can't take it off by biting the fisherman's back. The door will order a fire. Just let go. I saw that this creature was covered with small holes, and under each small hole have a mouth like a nail. The fisherman later died of massive bleeding. No one knows what kind of creature this is. This story was written in the Ming Dynasty by Zhong Da. It is also recorded in the Hang's biography, only its title, From Genisha to Whitebill. In addition, in the Qing dynasty writer Yuan Mei, written in the 8th volume of the subsection, there was a strange creature called the wave turtle. The original text is as follows. Qianlong, Xinmao, Spring, Shanyan Lu Jian, passes Zhenjiang, sea rich passenger ships. A lot of goods are floating away. There are Suan water people by the river. Common name, water ghost, specializing in leaking goods for a living. There is a vice president in Rico. Kunchwigwi street address. Enter the water along the pricing money. That is, there are few people and many fish ashore. It hides gold and silver in water. You can't find it when you re-enter the water, but see you again. Red is bigger than jade plate. Its shape is like a thin trace, headless and tailless. The water ghost was bitten by it. Can't pull. It is difficult to pull the turtle ashore in the big eye. There are hundreds of primary schools in the whole. Take it. Human blood has been drained, and the mouth oil is clinging. The next sharpest blade. Turtle, if you don't know. The patient and the tortoise were burned by fire as a last resort. Smelly mathematics. Or this chicken pot lid fish is the largest. Yanzhou. It means the new year of Qianlong in the Qing dynasty. In the spring of 1771, In present-day Genjong City, Jiangsu Province, Shaoxing native Liu Jeon plans to cross the saw ships coming and going being overturned by high winds, cargo drifting on the river. There are some good water people by the river, specializing in salvaging goods for a living, commonly known as water ghosts. Another passenger ship was capsized today. All the water ghosts by the river have come. After negotiating the price with the top gifter, let's go into the water to salvage the goods together. By the time they came ashore, but found that one person was missing, the crowd suspected him of hiding treasure in the water. Just go into the water, but I couldn't find it. All I saw was a red turtle, as big as a jade basin. Its shape is flat, like a bump. It has no head, it has no tail. It has no, and the missing water ghost is being bitten by a turtle. I can't pull it off, no matter what. Then they used dragging turtles and people ashore. I saw this turtle covered in mouth. There are hundreds of them. And the water ghost, who was attacked, he had already drained his blood, but he wouldn't let go. People stabbed him with sharp blades. No response. No way. They can only suck the drained water ghost, burned with this strange turtle. The stench of the monster being heated. You can smell it through the trees. Some say it's the biggest potfish. It is especially abundant in the lakes of Jeju. So that's the full record of the creature. There's been a lot of speculation about this creature, many inferences from the general public and online self-media. First of all, the attack characteristic of blood-sucking. It is easy to make people immediately think about nocturnal animals of easy bat. But that seems to me a little bit fanciful. So let's start with this. There are 3 species of vampire bats that have been discovered. They are found in tropical and subtropical regions of the Americas, and they're smaller. The largest of them would be no more than 3.5 inches. And bats that are larger, like the Malay tiger talisman, golden crown, food, etc. All, in other words, on a vegetarian diet. There are no vampire bats in the Eastern Hemisphere. In addition, the morphological and habitual description of the blood very different from a bat. Water liter, suction cup, square or circle. These characteristics, there's no explanation in that statement. The second tendency. This is an undiscovered water quality. The water quality is also commonly known as the sulfur. It is a decomposing, parasitic, or predatory insect. They attach to the host through suction cups, feed on blood. The body shape is subunit, the largest variety discovered so far. It's the giant Amazon. 12 inches in length. Due to the majority of freshwater quality, get used to living in a pond, lakes and slow-flow diving areas, cause the population distribution of this creature in south extremely broad. Blood hard to break free. These characteristics of a blood-sucking blanket are very similar to water. But the problem with this statement is that, and there weren't a lot of them, it only grows in the front and back of the body. Even some primitive water quality species only has a suction cup breath. The body with water is not flat. Even in an unfed state, the back will also be raised. And the other thing that happens is that it moves very slowly. It can be described as squirming. Fertilize with a vampire blanket. Descriptions of quick escape vary widely. Another inferential tendency. This is a paddling animal, like ghost tips or blanket octopuses. That would explain it. Biogenesis has many characteristics of suckers. This statement, a Bayou who confirmed the biological scars. The description is more detailed, he thinks. The smell of the burnt fluff of the vampire blanket comes from protein burning. That is to say, it is part of the biology, not turquoise, moss blood. It tends to be part of the biological sensory system, and suckers suck blood. Maybe biologically secreted digestive fluid, lice muscle. Illusion caused, but the claim is also controversial. Because, until today, we still haven't found a chiefly animal that can survive in fresh water. And all the eyewitness accounts, no creature has the characteristic of tentacles. The fourth, inference. It is also one of the most accepted. Many scholars believe that this should be recognized as a large organisms of the genus redfish, like crimson. That's what we colloquially call yellow fishing. This is a cartilaginous fish with a compressed disc. The back is brown or greenish-brown. In the 2,000-year-old Ramboli event, the creature he saw had a slender tail, 2 small eyes, plus the toxic ones mentioned above. This characteristic, it does match the aroma of yellow pepperfish. Because the tail spines of yellowfish have toxic glands, humans experience abdominal pain after being stabbed, nausea, breathing difficulties, blood pressure drop, paralysis, etc. And, according to a report by the BBC on June 20, 2022, on the evening of the 13th of the month, a Cambodian fisherman on the Mekong River captured a body length 3.98 meters, 2.2 meters wide, giant yellow fishing weighing up to 300 kilograms. It broke the record for the largest freshwater fish in the world. And up the Mekong is the Lang. That's where the vampire blanket hangs out. But the problem with this theory is that no matter what kind of fish in the cartilage fish tank, none of them have the characteristic of multiple suction cups. And these fish generally feed on fish and shrimp. Warm water doesn't attack humans, not sucking blood. But between ancient and modern, differences in data records. I also consulted the Qing dynasty biology writer Nihon nautical map. It records, including yellow, red, stepmother red, and more than a dozen red fish. However, still, no description with many tones found. To sum up, I think, the possibility of the existence of creatures such as blood-sucking still to be studied. In fact, all of the modern sightings mentioned above, I can't find the corresponding coverage, including 2 in 93 and 2000 significant sightings. The earliest records that can be found from sponsored by Shaanxi Science and Technology Association in 2004, Journal of Science. The true origin of the story is not revealed. But that doesn't mean they don't exist. I'll give you 3 reasons. The first point, I used to be offline, and on some media platforms online. I have contacted several local netizens and bloggers in Yunnan. Their ages ranged from 15 to 36. Rumors of blood-sucking blankets, only a few people have heard of it. I mentioned to them that including the matter, names like tin leather rolls. Most people are not impressed, and friends who have heard of it, usually from the elderly, or news from a friend. One of the most said, there is a kind in the Langking River that wraps human legs, the monster that sent someone into the water. Do not approach, and there is also news of the monster killing, but it usually exists in the form of a message. The circumstances of the specific event, I didn't find anyone in the know about it. Use the same method. I have also contacted several Zhejiang city and netizens in Zhengyang, but I didn't get any more useful information. That is to say, legends of this creature do exist, but as time goes by, may also be gradually forgotten. It is worth mentioning here that one of the netizens from Zhenjiang city, although it was not provided news about the vampire blanket, but he described to me a kind of haunting Genjiang port, an unconfirmed, along the Yangtze River. He can't remember the exact name of the creature. I only know that the elderly at home mentioned it. There is a fish monster in the river that is bigger than a human, will drag people from passing boats into the water and drown. The ships here refer to the small Zhou Tuan. About this creature, if you have an impression of a friend, hope you can share it with me. And here's point number 2. In terms of the environment, Zhishuang Banachia is located on the northern edge of the tropics. Tropical monsoon climate, middle-aged warmth, the animal and plant populations are known as the animal kingdom, plant kingdom. The title of biological gene and Xishuangbana. Tropical. It is an internationally recognized important creature. Diversity Conservation Center. The diversity of life can be said to be countless. This also applies to the Langking River. But from Mongla County in Yunnan province to the southern tip of Laos, old records show more than 745 species of freshwater fish species throughout the basin. There are nearly 1,300 species. In such an ecological environment, there are undiscovered aquatic organisms. It's very possible. One last thing, in the field of occult zoology, scarcity blankets exist. It's not that simple. On the other side of the ocean, there is a blanket description with scarcity. Extremely similar creatures exist, because this is also a legend that exists, and bizarre species witnessed in modern times. We can't, because of Orquero and the scarcity blanket. Most only exist in myths and legends. Just deny their existence. After all, myths and legends, sometimes it can also be our compass. For example, the sea monks recorded in the sea map. It is regarded as a spiritual skin turtle, and the antinose worm in China. Scholars have also cited snakes for us. So, myths have prototypes of reality. And the story of Orquero, I will be in the next issue. Share with everyone. Okay, that's the last sentence. Position is always greater than known. This video is here. Thanks for watching.